Okay. I can't hear anybody. I put unmute. There's nothing. There's no sound. Can't hear anything. I have no sound. Mute. It's unmuted. No sound. No sound.
I can hear you, but I can't hear them.
Now it just went away.
That might be what they're trying to do. They seem to have the control panel up there.
You're sad. No sound.
No, there's no sound.
You see it? No, that's only so you can talk.
I don't want them to hear me, but I want to hear
No,
them.
press mute. Press mute.
No, this says no.
No. Okay.
That's muted.
No.
Can you hear us now? Yeah, we got some input. Hi there. Hello.
Is that you in the room?
Can you hear us? I'm talking from the main room.
Yes.
Okay. Welcome to the final, possibly the final meeting for 2024, the Woodstock ZBA. Okay. Yeah. Right. Start with the basics.
All right,
Thank you, sir.
the property at 14 Sergeant Richard Quinn Drive, which used to be Hillcrest. Adjacent to the American Legion, so adjacent to, very close to Tom's Hotel, the Millstream Motel. The building is a sort of dilapidated old building, more of a ramble. Tom has been renovating and realizes he wants to upgrade by filling in some of the gaps.
Can you pass the microphone to the speaker, please?
Around back, the existing building has a 10-foot setback from the rear property line. So therefore, some of this additional infill will be in the required setback, but it doesn't increase the degree of nonconformance. So we're asking for exactly that. You can see it in that hatch there.
The new footprint, right?
Yeah, we're just squaring off an existing footprint and not increasing the degree of nonconformance. You can see in the last page, the sort of ramble that we just be squaring off.
Gas tank is
Yes.
to that little
And
foyer
then-
like porch thing.
Second page is the aerial view. That's often in the parcel view where the property lines are way off, but you can see that there's really no buildings you'd be offending immediately nearby. Single family home. No, he rented.
Long term?
Any questions from the board? Yes, did you want anything else for questions? Joe, Mike, Stephen? No questions. So with that, who would like to, okay, Joe, great. So did the site visit? And, I don't really know how this works.
No.
So, with that, right,
Kathleen Doherty, 24 Tannery Brook Road in Woodstock, 20 Tannery. 20 Tannery Park Road, and Tannery Brook Real Estate, 98 Park Avenue, Hoboken.
anybody on Zoom wish to comment on this public hearing? Going once, going twice, gone, okay.
Thank you all.
Anybody here? Don't think so. Thank you, Jess. So with that, we'd like to close the public hearing for 2422. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And with that, we'll recess ZBA case 2422. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on. Tonight.
In order for Martin to be counted as being a meeting, he has to be visible.
Is Martin,
He's on his phone, but he's gotta be visible.
Is he there?
He is, I saw his
Martin's
Martin's
phone,
phone,
there it
yeah,
he does have to be visible?
he does. That's-
Martin, if you'd like to join the meeting, I think we need a visual if that's possible. There we go. Martin? He's unmuted.
Yes, he's unmuted. We need to see your face, Martin.
You guys can hear me, I can't hear you.
Yes, but we need to see your actual face. We need to see you on video.
Martin? Are you there, Martin? Martin, are you gonna join us or not? Okay.
He's on his phone, so it should come right up, right?
He couldn't hear. Now he can.
Okay.
Okay. So Martin, can you join the video? Okay, great, thank you.
Where?
Oh,
No,
now
it's
the
not.
video's
See if you can get it together.
There he is.
Hey, Martin,
Now you have to unmute. Okay.
well, state your name for the record so we all know you're here.
Here, can't hear anybody but here.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yes.
Okay, so I'll keep that mic close.
Now I can.
You can? Okay, I'm gonna read, we're going into the decision phase of the meeting. I'd like to open up ZBA case 2413. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, on this, would you
Fine.
read the resolution, then go with the,
Discussion maybe.
then the,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I'd like to open up, ZBA case, did we already do that? 2413 for
Yeah.
purpose of discussion. Anybody wish to? Jude, would you like
Yes,
to?
so I
start us
don't
off?
know, I don't remember who was at the meeting when they came, but this is for a garden fence that is on a corner lot. So they have 2 front yards. And they already put up the fence without getting a building permit. So the way the decision is written is to give them what ordinarily would be somebody's side yard, to count that, even though it's a front yard technically, because it's a corner lot, to call that their side yard so that they can have their 6-foot fence on that side. But on the front yard side, they have to, if they want a 6-foot fence, they have to have it in line with the front of their house. And right now, it's in front of the house. It's so confusing. But if they want to keep it 6 feet, they just have to have it aligned with the front of the house so that it can be 6 feet all around. Their backyard isn't suitable for a garden, so this is really the best spot for them. But, in keeping with what we try to do with front yards, they can just move the fence a few feet and they will comply with the decision. Any quick questions? Anybody?
Okay, yeah, Michael, yeah, you would start off on this one, so make sense?
Okay, good. Just wanted to wrap it up.
Okay. All right, I'm going to read the resolution first, followed by the determination. Resolution based upon the standards of consideration for area variances set forth in section 260-103B of the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, area variances from the zoning law of the town of Woodstock. 1, Article 4, area and bulk regulations, corner lots 250-27A, to allow a 7-foot garden fence in the front yard where only a 4-foot fence is allowed, is hereby reduced and modified to allow a 6-foot garden fence only on the front yard section that faces Forestwood Drive. 2, Article 5, fences, walls 260-32D3A, to allow a 7-foot garden fence in a front yard where only a 4-foot fence is allowed, is hereby denied where the front yard section faces Witch Tree Road. So that determination was the corner lot variance only section of the fence that faces Forestwood Drive shall be granted a 6-foot garden fence enclosure front yard variance, but not a 7-foot fence. And 2, the front yard variance, the front yard section of the garden fence enclosure that faces West Street Road shall be denied, and only 4-foot fence. So that's redundant, but it clarifies this to all the way. And I'm going to take a vote on that. Vote is this? Yes, please.
Yes. That's it's in the criteria. It says it's a feasible alternative because that would be allowed. If the front yard is only considered what's in front of your house. So if they put the fence in line with the front of their house, they don't need a variance for that.
That's the side yard. The one
Okay.
that goes in, no, the one that goes forward beyond that line is denied.
Right, I'm saying your second request for the variance, 6-foot, 7-foot fence in the front yard is being denied.
Yes,
And 7-foot is being denied all around.
right.
regardless.
So we're not granting a 6-foot fence
In the front. We're giving, since it's a corner lot and there are 2 front yards, determining that the Forestwood Drive side would be the side yard, but not into the Witch Tree side.
Right, but the decision, just so I'm clear,
Mhm.
is that in the front, because what they're putting up is gonna be aligned with their house, it's not considered a 6-foot fence that needs a variance.
Right.
Correct.
So we're not breaking our long-standing set of decisions denying 6-foot fences in front.
No, we just made a
Right.
determination which is the front of the house.
I understand.
Right. We're giving them the Forestwood side
Yeah,
to be their
I-
side. It's right up against their house, so it's not like, yeah.
I
just trying to-
want to be clear. we're
Yeah.
not granting this.
Not just throwing one of those out there all of a sudden for a Christmas gift. No, no.
Linda, the person who's talking is not the lawyer. It's one of our members. He's asking a question about a decision that they were going to vote on.
But we at home cannot hear unless someone is holding the mics, and there are mics sitting on the table that people could be using.
Okay,
Have-
we're
have-
taken. Thank you.
Okay, have some respect for the public, please. Thank you.
Better equipment. That's the answer.
Okay. Collect myself here
We can vote.
and we'll get to the vote.
Yeah.
Vote is as follows. Gordon Webb. Aye. Michael Castiglione.
Yes.
Judith Salato.
Aye.
Joseph Bellick. Martin Mills. He's gone. Okay, absent.
Has there been some determination made that you can vote by Zoom? Because the last time I was attempting to participate by Zoom, I was told I could not vote.
Yes, we had a lot of back and forth on it in the last 2 days, and I'm sorry we didn't make you a part of that. Yeah,
So you need to offer something. Correct.
we don't need a note from the doctor.
No, but you have to articulate one. Say it all.
Right.
Is he affirming that he needs one?
No, no, I was told, I was also told, didn't seem we had that completely underway, that it was told that travel was also included. Yeah, so,
In our local, is the travel included in our local law? Yeah.
mhm. Well, if we get him back,
We're going to need you to talk on the microphone. Thank you. Okay.
so yes, he is
Right.
traveling.
Okay, I just have a question about that one because that's not what's in our local law. So does it have to be in the local law or can the town board at any time say this criteria, because what's in the local law is, I think, you know, extraordinary circumstances mainly related to health, caretaking. It does not, no.
Well, they did mention that in the local law that they could further, I think, delineate what the reasons were, and I'm not sure if I saw those delineations.
No.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, well, we gotta get.
It says members of the public body shall be physically present at any such meeting location unless such member is unable to be physically present at any such meeting location due to extraordinary circumstances that a member cannot attend in person because of health, risk, disability, illness, or caregiving responsibilities. Be it resolved that the Woodstock Town Board shall create written procedures further governing its use of video conferencing members of all town of Woodstock public bodies in compliance with Chapter 56 of the law of 2022.
And we're not positioned those written if they were done.
Correct.
So. Well, it may be moot because
He's
you
not
know,
there.
He's not there, but it's good to know.
It's good to know for the future, for sure, right?
Well,
Not, you don't care.
Once you get something right, then it's time to move on to the next thing.
That's right. So
Okay.
that comment was because this is Gordon's last meeting. He has resigned.
Okay, so
Long
as-
service.
As of now, the vote on that has completed in March, so it's not been recorded.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Wouldn't know what it was, so. That's probably the safest. Mm-hmm. Okay. No, but his vote really doesn't count, so.
Sorry.
Now, two members here were to develop a condition or had to give care, then your vote would be needed. So I'm always glad when you hear it.
Thank you for coming.
He can express his opinion. We
Yes.
always want to hear that.
Yes, it can.
Okay.
So I'm just going to sign this thing. Okay, the resolution was adopted with 1, 2, 3, 4 in favor, or 3 in favor. 4 in favor. 0 opposed, 1 absent, 0 abstained. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Okay. Because in the order on the agenda, there was something else.
Call the chair.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, so with that, I would like to close ZBA case 2413. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all. And I would like to open up ZBA case 2420. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's open her up. Discussion on this?
So again, I don't know who was here for the meeting, but this was a request for a variance for parking for a hotel that was closer to a residential area than is allowed. And it was sort of an interesting case because I think there's some different information going around, but he wanted to keep, I think, 3 units long-term rental and 2 of them to be short-term rental. And it just didn't seem like it was a good idea to start giving exceptions for hotels, parking being too close to residential areas, since we just had a hotel case and we were pretty adamant about how we handled that. So it felt like this one needed to be denied. It could continue to be a long-term rentals. And then it was feasible if he had mentioned that he would like to use it for personal use on occasion. And so it's feasible for him to have, say, a 10-month lease or month-to-month leases, or there are other options besides giving them this variance for hotel. So it was denied.
Yeah, isn't the mixed use a problem if he's calling it a hotel also?
Yes, and when I talked to Butch, my impression was that was not how it was presented to him. That was
Mhm.
how it was presented to us. So I didn't put it in there because that wasn't in the referral.
I see.
Yeah.
Right, and I understand it's to be very precedent setting also.
Yep.
In kind of a way to skirt around the short-term rental law for one.
Right. Yeah.
Might be
want
a
that too.
possibility of kind of.
Yeah.
Hamlet, so.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, discussion about this case? Okay, so with that, we're at a resolution to read. Based upon the standards for consideration of area variances set forth in section 260-103B of the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, an area variance from the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, Article 6, special permit uses 260-63M3 to allow for parking closer than 150 feet of residential property in order to include a hotel use within a multifamily dwelling is hereby denied, subject to all requirements of the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, New York State real property law, and all other applicable laws, codes, and regulations. As follows, Gordon Brown, aye. Mike Stiglione,
Yes.
Judith Salado,
Aye.
Joseph Selick,
I am voting aye based on the facts of the case, the law, and our zoning regulations, not my feelings related to the matter.
how'd you see? And, okay,
You know, there is another page. You just don't have a page.
yeah, we're not gonna, yeah. We're not sure if that, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the resolution is adopted by a vote of 4 in favor, none opposed, 1 absent, 0 abstaining. With that, I would like to close ZBA case 2420. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. After the headline. Number on this? Oh, here we go. I got it. I'd like to open up ZBA case number 2416. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, guys. I think we do all probably have a little bit to say about this one. Got quite a bit to review here and go over before we posit voting on a determination. So we've through the course of this did 2 drafts. One with the ZEO's determination in effect, and another one on another look at whether or not this is a valid determination. And I guess we can call it, we have draft option 1 and draft option 2, and it's put together by the board with help from our legal counsel. And would anybody like to kick this ball down the road? Get it going, huh? Good? You don't mean saying, you don't mean saying, yeah. All right.
Somebody else go first.
All right, okay, so I think in both determinations, we found that the Woodstock Land Conservancy, we felt that, let's see, I've read so much of this today, I'm brain melted, so you just bear with me. I'll get there. That's why I want somebody else to go first. I'm much better joining in.
Yeah, everybody likes to bounce off me and tell me that I'm wrong. I'll do it because
No, there's no telling about
I
what's
made,
wrong.
I
We're
made,
just-
I made notes, so I'll just go.
Right, okay, great.
Okay,
I have
all
some too,
right,
but they
okay.
look like Chinese to me right now, and I don't speak Chinese.
I typed because I can read it. All right, I've got a whole big thing, so bear with me. Okay, we're being asked to review whether the zoning enforcement officer's decision on the Xena Development's proposed road adheres to the town zoning laws. We should base our decision on the law and nothing else. We are not being asked to pick a side or to base our decision on a prediction as to what either side will do next after we render a decision. So I'm going to go through the Woodstock Land Conservancy argument, and next draft decision 1, which I can say what that is, and then draft decision 2. So the Land Conservancy argument, the Woodstock Land Conservancy has relied on BBJ and associated case law to make the argument that the road that leads through Woodstock to the Xena development should not be allowed. BBJ and the other cases rely on a municipality's ability to deny a building permit for a road that accesses a use in another municipality that is disallowed in the originating municipality. And I'm sorry for that. Everybody knows what we're talking about. I tried to simplify it. Xena's proposed accessory community recreation area is not an allowed use in Woodstock. The building density that Xena is proposing in the town of Ulster far exceeds what would be allowed in contiguous lands in Woodstock, as well as not meeting the requirements for open space and it exceeds maximum lot coverage. So the question became, would the courts be willing to expand the BBJ ruling to include extreme increases in density, not meeting open space requirements and exceeding minimal lot coverage through a sole access road that does not comply with Woodstock subdivision regulations? So that's the question. And the answer is we don't know. So we moved on. Draft decision 1 was the one that basically is upholding the zoning enforcement officer's determination. So I believe that the zoning enforcement officer's determination that the proposed road would be required to follow all the zoning and subdivision regulations concerning wetlands and fill and grading, et cetera, that he enumerated, and that they're correct. However, the road is presented, in my opinion, is not allowed under Woodstock zoning law, which leads to a discussion of draft decision 2. And I'll just go through that. Now, you know, there are decisions, I don't know, some of you may have seen, the decisions are posted on the website, so some of you may have seen them prior to the meeting, so you know what they say. And I have just, you know, these are summaries, because we'd be here for
Yeah,
a
we
long
won't be
time.
reading the whole decision, but at
Right.
the end, we do have, if one of us calls on it, we can call for a vote
Right,
on either of the decisions, but everything is online.
Right.
And we'll try,
Good,
in the
yeah.
summary at the end, we'll
Right.
go through, you know,
right.
basis of the decision.
So the question I also have is, can people on Zoom, can you hear? Oh, gosh. Well, I'm trying.
I
don't
can
know.
hear on Zoom.
You can?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it's better now. Okay, sorry you ran, Sarah. Okay, the ZBA is not limited to only looking at the applicant's arguments, but is empowered to, in interpretations, is empowered to look at the case. And I'm quoting the law here. In this exercise of its appellate power for interpretations, it has been held that it is not the ZBA's function merely to decide whether the enforcement officer's action was arbitrary and capricious. Rather, the board must conduct a de novo review. That is, it must review all the facts which form the basis of the officer's decision and must decide the case as though it were the enforcement officer. The ZEO's determination presumes that the proposed use of the road is permissible. Eastwoods Drive is a private right-of-way that was never approved by a planning board and does not appear on a map filed with the county. The road that is proposed to be constructed in Woodstock is merely a road that leads to another road. There is no principal use in the town of Woodstock. Xena's proposed development in Ulster should not be able to reach across another municipality and dictate the nature of land use in Woodstock. Woodstock zoning laws regulate all the development in the town, and in several sections, it specifically has provisions that state, and this is kind of boilerplate language in zoning laws, any development or use not specifically permitted by this chapter is prohibited. And that's just because when you create a zoning law, you can't always foresee things that are going to happen. So a road in and of itself is not listed anywhere as a permissible use. The proposed extension of Eastwoods Drive through Woodstock lands is not a permitted use under the town of Woodstock zoning laws. I believe it is the ZBA's obligation in reviewing an interpretation to examine exactly what Woodstock zoning law allows. In this case, it is clear that the proposed road is not permitted in Woodstock. And those are my notes.
Okay, well, thanks. I love the beginning narrative. Thank you. So it's a good thing I went to. You had it typed up nicely and everything. Very good. Um, Okay, and just go over the facts that there was issues of standing for the Woodstock Land Conservancy. And we felt, yes, they did have standing in this. for the-
You know, at the last meeting, I went through I'm sorry, I had that at the beginning. I went through standing and timeliness and mootness and all of that as well last time, so I'm not doing it again.
Right, I'm just saying, we cited these, that, you know, these are in the decisions, the timeliness and the mootness, that it was timely, and the actual appeal was not moot. It had teeth to actually be issued. So what we've done, though, is we did, and I don't feel that the density is necessarily an issue, but there are areas in the Blue Road, I'm still not completely sure about this. My big question with the calling the road not a road, that if they just continue on with the subdivision, then that road becomes a road, then the development can then move forward into the town of Ulster also.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, from my perspective, well, how I'm looking at this is we have to look at what's before us, not what could potentially happen in the future.
Well, it's not even a matter of what potentially happens, it's what's come before us and been historically been anecdotally brought to us. That I mean, I read enough of it. I didn't follow it that closely, but there was a much bigger proposal put forth where development was going on in Woodstock and in Ulster.
Right.
Now, this is just in Ulster. It's much smaller than was originally given to us.
Right.
By saying that a road to a road is not a permitted use, they have lots in Woodstock.
Correct.
So those could be developed, and then they would have a right to make that road.
Correct.
So in a sense, by saying that this process cannot move forward because a road to a road is not a permitted use, and it seems to me sort of I don't know how, it's hard for me to really grasp that. I read it several times, I've thought about it, but ultimately, by granting that, you're kind of, they have to develop Woodstock. There would have to be a development in Woodstock. Once they have that road, then they can move on and do Ulster also.
Right. And then their process would have to begin in Woodstock, right? Yeah. And then Woodstock would be lead agency. You know, this is what I said, was that I cannot predict what they're going to do or what they're going to do. I don't know. I'm just looking at this from purely the legal standpoint, which is we don't allow this as it came before us. It could all change tomorrow.
So this is being posited that it's a road to road because of the mixed use that's in Ulster?
No, that would go to the Land Conservancy argument that it's a use that's not allowed in Woodstock.
No,
This
because of the mixed uses, that was part of the. Where was that? I didn't make that note. The challenge, okay. Gain access, but okay, I'm not finding exactly, oh, here. Split on 2 pages, around 93. Approved, for instance, because proposed road does not meet the exception for single and family. Moreover, the exception for a one-family or two-family home does not apply to this project. The language zoning law 267-4A says that the exception applies to one-family or two-family dwelling. This indicates that the intention was that the exception applied to a single dwelling not a subdivision of 30 new dwellings. In addition, the applicant's project includes not just the 30 new dwellings, but also an accessory community recreation area on 3.14 acre lot. It will include a tennis court, 2 pickleball courts, and a 2,400 square foot recreation and fitness facility. The road will serve these facilities in addition to the residential dwellings, and that also establishes that the one-family, two-family dwelling exception in zoning law 267-4A does not apply to this project. So is that one of the things that would,
We can no longer hear on Zoom.
is your mic green? It looks like it.
Can you hear me on Zoom?
We hear you now. Thank you.
Okay. So what BBJ had said was that if the access is leading to a use that's not allowed, then the access cannot be, is part of it. And so therefore the access cannot be allowed. And I think the question that the board needs to consider is if what it's leading to is allowed. So in option 2, after we had kind of looked into what Jude's question was at the last meeting, we had thought there could be an argument for the board's consideration that the road is leading to single family homes, it's leading to 2-family homes, it's leading to this recreational facility. It's leading, when you look at the subdivision that was provided by Woodstock Land Conservancy in their October 8th letter, is leading to a network. What's that?
Provided by them, by Zena.
No, it was in the, it might have been provided by Zena. They provided a picture of the road, what it looked like. In Woodstock Land Conservancy's October 8th, there was an attachment to it, which included what the subdivision looks like. So that was what, in essence, what option 2 has stated based on what Jude had asked the question as to if the road leads to a road. That was what the question was. And what option 1 is saying is that what Butch had looked into was he found that the use, BBJ says that it's an access road, it's under the local jurisdiction, Woodstock's jurisdiction. He found elements in the zoning law as to that site plan is required because a building permit's required, and wetlands wetlands permit is required because it's going to be, it needs to be widened and stuff. So what Butch had said is that under the zoning law, it is provided to be a site plan review. And we're saying from Butch's perspective, I think he had said that it essentially was leading to single family homes. It's not leading to a single family home, but it's leading to single family homes, 2-family homes.
Right.
So Butch's determination that this would require site plan review and wetland and water course, thank you, permits would stand anytime any kind of road like this is presented, correct? It's not just if we vote for option 1 that would be the case. It's like if they decide to do something in Woodstock, they're going to come with the road and they're going to come with their plans and they're still going to have to adhere to his determination. His determination was, I think there was a question of whether or not they were exempt from site plan review in Woodstock, and Butch's determination was they are not.
So they would
Correct?
have to go before the zoning board.
They have to go before the planning board. Yeah.
The planning board.
So I would say that you should, John Lyons, by the way, counsel to the Zoning Board of Appeals. I would say that in looking at Butch's decision is based on the plan that was presented to him by the developer. And if there or subsequent changes to the plan, it's possible that the basis for Butch's decision might be altered by changes in the plan in the future. I think for the purposes of your decision tonight, you should assume that Butch's decision applies to the plan as presented. What happens with regard to other plans is not being determined as part of this inquiry.
We have no way of predicting what's going to happen next. Right.
Nobody does.
Nobody does. So that was my argument, is that this is what we're looking at. This is right in front of us. And this is my opinion only. I'm one person, is that the zoning law doesn't allow this as it stands. Now, everything could change tomorrow, but that's not what we're looking at. We're looking at what's sitting right in front of us, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, please. We would love to hear some input from other members, what the questions or comments.
Additional to say or less. So how are we going to be conducting the vote? Resolution?
We don't necessarily need to vote on both. We can call on one. If one doesn't pass, we can vote on the other.
And what is the required vote for passing?
Or three, sorry. But also, the appeal wouldn't stand unless it garnered 3 votes, my understanding.
Yeah, another way of saying that is oh, sorry, I got this here. If you're deadlocked at 2-2, then there's a default denial. Thank you very much.
All right, well, then my understanding also is if there is a tie, then the appeal is denied, just as if that were the case, if it were a variance or anything else with a tie or a no vote, is it considered a denial?
Yes.
So then what happens is if somebody challenges it, the court makes a decision, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so there we are, friends.
Okay.
See where we
Well,
land.
with that, I would like to put up draft option 1 for a vote. I don't need to get a vote for me to read this option put up for a vote.
I would just suggest I would read the whereas clause, or not therefore it be
resolution.
resolved.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm going to
Yeah.
read that, yes.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
I'm just going to say, let's vote. Yeah. I'm not going to read the whole thing, which is what
Just-
I stated earlier. No, I know, the resolution, where.
Just the action items
I
at the
always
end.
look for the whereas. It's like in my job, we always look for the bottom line money. In this, I look for the whereas.
So actually, so Gordon, just before, so one of the questions, it is in the drafts, both drafts that we have drafted, but just for the record, for seeker and tweaker purposes, this is a type 2 action. It's under 617.5C, 737, an interpretation. That is drafted in there. It is an appeal. It's a request for an interpretation. So it is a type 2 action. And part of the action items in both drafts is adopting that. So I just wanted to just bring that to your attention.
So, and how's that done? You're saying to adopt the.
Section 1.
First action item, section 1 under the action items. For the record, it's stating that
Oh,
this
right
is
there.
exempt from
I'm going to
environment.
read all the sections.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's exempt from environmental review.
Right, no, yeah, I'm going to read all the sections, so. Okay. Now therefore be it resolved, based on all the findings of fact and conclusions of law described above. And that's the documents that we cited that are on the town website and what we were discussing tonight. and through the two first public hearings. Based on all the findings of fact and conclusions of the law described above, upon the reasoning described above, and upon the evidence in the record before the board as follows. Section 1, seeker and tweaker classification. This application is classified as a type 2 action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, secret, and the Town of Woodstock Environmental Quality Review tweaker law. Section 2, standing. For the reasons set forth in detail above in this resolution and the findings of fact and conclusions of law contained therein, we determine that the WLC has established that it has standing to bring this appeal. Section 3, timeliness. For the reasons set forth in detail above in this resolution and in the findings of fact and conclusions of law contained therein, we determine that the evidence before the board supports that the appeal and the requisite fee were timely filed and received on July 23rd, 2024. Section 4. What, are they complaining? Section 4. Usually nobody ever can hear me. Thing must be turned down very loud. Section 4, mootness. For the reasons set forth in detail above in this resolution and the findings of fact and conclusions of law contained therein, we determine that the appeal is not moot. Section 5, the challenge to the ZEO's decision for the reasons set forth in detail above in this resolution and in the findings of fact and conclusions of law contained therein, we find that the ZEO properly applied the Town of Woodstock zoning law to Eastwoods Drive in the R3 and R5 zoning districts in Woodstock, and his determination dated May 24th, 2024 is upheld in its entirety. Section 6, filing and circulation. We instruct Michelle Severett, the ZBA's clerk, to file a copy of this decision in the office of the Town of Woodstock Town Clerk, provide copies of this resolution determination to Victoria Polidoro, Esquire of Rodenhausen, Jail and Polidoro, LLP, attorneys for the Woodstock Land Conservancy, appellant Alec Glad, Esquire of Cuddy and Feder, LLP, attorneys for Zenith Development, LLC, Francis Hoffman, Town of Woodstock Zoning Enforcement Officer, and William McKenna, Town of Woodstock Town Supervisor. Okay, so we need a second for a motion on this? Yeah, a second? Okay. So roll call vote. Gordon Wemp, in favor. Michael Castiglione.
Yes.
Joseph Bellick.
No.
Against. Judith Salato.
No.
Martin Mills, absent. Result, motion fails as we don't have enough to pass the appeal.
So procedurally, do we vote on option 2 in case anybody has a change of heart?
Yes. Okay. You want to call for a vote on option 2?
I make a motion that we,
Yeah, I'm gonna read, no, you know.
yeah. I'm making a motion to
to-
call for
yeah.
the vote
So you'll
for,
be the
yeah,
motion, she'll be the second motion to
yeah,
bring
to
it forward.
bring
We'll do
up
it the same
option
way.
2. That was a little gobbledygook. Is that okay, Michelle? Do you need me to state it more clearly? Got it. Thank you.
So I called the first one. Yep. All right. We already did.
Section 5 is the only one that's it.
Okay, so now therefore be resolved based on the findings of fact and conclusions of the law described above, upon the reasons described above, and upon the evidence and record before this board as follows. Sections 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the same on the secret, the standing, and time limit. Section 5, the challenge to the ZEO's decision for the reasons set forth in detail above in this findings of fact and conclusions of law contained therein, we determine that the use of Eastwood Drive to provide access to the proposed subdivision in the town of Ballston is prohibited in the town. The use that Zenith Development proposes on Eastwood Drive is the construction of a road, which is the land use proposed on the land in Woodstock, and the use on which leads to the town of Ulster to access multiple uses of 30 residential homes and recreation facilities within the proposed subdivision proposed. The land use that Zenith Development proposes in Woodstock is the construction and improvement of a road, and the land use to which that road will lead in the town of Ulster is a road network and several variations of residential uses as well as recreation facilities. A road is not listed anywhere as a permissible use in the town of Woodstock zoning law schedule, use regulations, and hence the use of Beechwood Drive as a road to provide access to a road within the town of Ulster is prohibited in the town of Woodstock. Filing circulation, we instruct Michelle Servet, the ZBA's clerk, to file a copy of the decision at the office of Woodstock Town Clerk, provide copies of resolution termination of Victoria Polidoro Esquire, Rodenhausen Jail, Polidoro LLP, attorneys for the Woodstock Land Conservancy Appellant. Alec Glad, Esquire of Cuddy Fetter LLP, attorneys for Zenith Development LLC. Francis Hoppen, Town of Woodstock Zoning Enforcement Officer, and William McKenna, Town of Woodstock Town Supervisor. Roll call vote. Gordon Wemp, against. Mike Castiglione. Joseph Bellick.
Yes.
Judith Salato.
Yes.
Martin Mills, still absent. Again, the determination doesn't carry, as we don't have a majority in the vote. And with that,
So, okay, so for the purposes of just clarity for people who are observing, would Mr. Lyons be so kind as to explain what this ultimately means?
for the third time,
Did you, well,
You hear me on Zoom?
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you. So the outcome of this in the event of a tie is the courts have issued decisions that explain what happens in this instance. And the leading case on this question is called Tall Trees versus Town of Huntington. It's a New York State Court of Appeals case, which is the state's highest court. And that decision's been followed since it was handed down. What happens in the event of tie is that by default, the appeal is denied, meaning that in this particular case, that the relief being requested by the Woodstock Land Conservancy, which is to overturn the decision of Butch, is denied in this instance by operation of law. Any challenges to this decision would put this question before the court. In an instance where the Zoning Board of Appeals makes a decision and you adopt a decision and the reasons that support your decision are set forth in that decision, when it's challenged and it goes to court, a court looks at whether or not the decision is rational and based on substantial evidence in the record. And it makes its decision on that basis, whether if it finds that the decision was rational and based on substantial evidence in the record, the court is supposed to uphold the decision regardless of whether the judge personally agrees with the outcome, the decision that was made by the board. In this particular case, because the denial is by operation of law, there won't be any supporting arguments. And the court, if it's challenged, the Supreme Court is empowered to step in to the shoes of the Zoning Board of Appeals to read the record and issue a decision on the interpretation question. So that's what would happen if there was a challenge after tonight. But the result of your decision tonight is that the Woodstock Land Conservancy's appeal has been denied.
thank you.
thank you, Tom. Thank you, Ken.
This was a first. This was a first. 31st. Well, I've never been here where we've had a tie. You know, so, yeah, yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Somebody always drives the consensus.
Yeah.
Next item is really just to, I guess, well, we can close this. Oh, I have to close it. I would like to, close ZBA case number 2416. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, so be it. Okay, the only thing I have left on the agenda is canceling meeting on the 26th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right.
Is this your last meeting?
Yes.
This is my last meeting.
I just-
Yeah.
But I still have, I'm actually on the board until the 31st, and I have a decision I have to write on a fence.
Gordon, I just wanted to say it's been an honor serving under your chairmanship, and I think the town owes you a debt of gratitude. It's not an easy job that you have, because people are frequently disappointed by the decisions. But I think that you have handled the role with a lot of class and grace. And in the time that I've been on the Zoning Board of Appeals, I've known you to always try to get to the right result at the end of the day. So
Well,
thank
thanks
you.
for that. I appreciate it, Joe. Your opinion means a lot to me.
Okay, Gordon, thank you. You've been great.
guys.
Great to work with. We're going to miss you.
Yeah. Well, I'm always available for consult.
You'll see those IDs come up and go, oh,
Yeah.
no.
So I have, oh, and Michael, you still have a shed?
Yes.
So you want to get that for the next, for the January meeting? And I'll have my fence decision done, because there's also an issue where, where's the front of the house? And they already put the fence up, a 6-foot fence around the entire property. And so I can't really write my decision and make suggestions, since I'm not sure where the front of the house is. It's one of those setback houses. So, that's it. Is there any other business? Please, hold on. We're just trying to wrap this up. Thank you. Any other business before the board? All right, guys, I want to thank you all. It's been it really has been a pleasure and an honor to work with all of you. And let's see you around. So with that, I'd like to adjourn tonight's meeting. Anybody?
If we go and adjourn or stuck in the.
I guess. I'll have to do an executive action. Second, do we have a second on that? All in favor?
Hey,
Great.
happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you. All right, hey, guys, one other thing. One other thing, it really takes, you guys, the way this board's been going, I really suggest that everybody try and pitch in and help who's ever left here and get stuck with the running this show, because it's become very real, this board. It's no longer just sheds and, yeah.
If you have an alternate present.
Tiebreaker? No. As a tiebreaker? No. No. No.
So why would the alternate be there?
Well, we need a quorum. If you need a quorum or conflict of interest. But they can participate and do cases, they just don't have a vote. But they can vote, if it was just Jude, myself, and Stephen, then he would have a vote and does have a vote.
Actually, they have the quorum.
Yes, to have a quorum, they would have a vote then, but we can't use them as tiebreakers.
Okay.
Believe me, that was a good part of today's discussion. We went through all of this, you know?
Oh, yeah.
No, that was great.
See you, Mike. I'll talk to you soon.
Happy holidays.
Same to you, Joe.
All right.
We'll talk to you soon.